Good Monday morning. I heard a story recently about Dr. Henry Cloud, and he was on an airplane, and when he switched his phone off of airplane mode, it came up, that thing that we all see, searching for connection. And I'm sure he made some very just prolific point that'll be bigger than mine, but I realized, God said early on that it's not good for man to be alone. And I was thinking as I was preparing this musing, when did this disconnection kind of happen? And I think it kind of goes back to Atari. You remember when we got Atari and it had Pong on it and Pac-Man, and all of a sudden we were taking from this world of cops and robbers outside and making mud pies and outdoor baseball games and playing on our swing sets to this indoor isolated experience. And then what was video games became iPhones, where you could play games on your phone all by yourself. At least sometimes with Atari, you could play each other. Mario Karts, you can play each other. And on your phone, maybe you play a friend in Indiana, but you never see her face. And then it went to social media. And then all of a sudden, COVID came. And we were in our homes, and we weren't just there by choice anymore. We were there because it felt like we had to be there. And boy, that changed everything. And I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, and I'm ashamed to say, I don't think we've talked in 5 years. And we were like asking each other, how in the world could it have been 5 years since we've had a conversation? And she said, well, social media makes you feel like you're connected. But we're not. But see, God created us for connection. And the enemy has been a master at doing whatever he could to get us away from connection. But God said a 3-corded strand is not easily broken. So inside of a relationship, there are things that can't get in, that when we're left isolated, we're very vulnerable and exposed. And then it says one can put 1,000 to flight, but do you know what 2 can do? 2 can put 10,000 to flight. Now, how's that for a return? That doesn't even make mathematical sense. You would think 2 could put 2,000 to flight. No, that's the power of being in connection and being in unity. Scripture says a friend is born for adversity. A friend is born for that moment. Philly says a quote often that friends divide sorrows and increase joys. And that's so true. Aren't sorrows lessened when you can share what you're going through with a friend? And isn't your joy even greater when you're sharing it with other people? Who wants to have a joyful moment and you're all alone in your house and you're the only one shouting and screaming? It's so much the first thing you do is pick up the phone and call somebody, or run out and find somebody, or run upstairs and find your husband. You want to share the joy because we were created for this community. And so I wanted to speak to something really specific today. A lot of us, when COVID hit, and we were people who go to church, and that was a really big part of our lives, in those first initial moments, we were like really missing this thing that we knew, that we had grown, that we had almost begun to take for granted, that's going to church every Sunday. And we missed it. And some of us may have even said, boy, when those church doors open, I don't ever want to not be able to be in church again. And yet some of us have still not gone back. And all of a sudden, watching church in our PJs and with our morning cup of coffee or hot tea became a lot more convenient and comfortable than getting up and going. But God told us, he said, don't forsake the assembling together, because not it's not that just something happens to you. Something happens in the spirit realm when God's people get together and worship together and break bread together. Something happens in the heavenlies, and we do not want to forfeit that experience. So I want to encourage you, and I want to tell you that isolation is not your friend. It is the enemy's petri dish. Hear that. You need the community of other believers. It is a gift to your heart. It is not something where God's trying to take something from you. He is giving to you. He's depositing in you. So get out of your PJs, okay? Get on the pew. Take your family. Your heart needs it. And it is an offensive position of war. And that's how we're to live. So that's your assignment this week. You cannot watch church in your PJs. You have to put on. You cannot wear your pajamas to church either, okay? You've got to put on real clothes and get there. And I promise you, God will meet you there. And if you're not in a church where He is meeting you, then get in a church where He is, where His Spirit is moving and He is alive. That's as harsh as I'm going to get on this Monday morning. If your heart was encouraged today, please know that we have many other resources available for you. You can discover all of those at reclaiminghearts.org.